You're killing yourself if you're not taking care of yourself after your 50s. My name is Victor Taylor. Listen, you have life to live. You want things done, and you have dreams that you have. Even as an older person, you have dreams. Now, I was lucky to live my dreams in my 20s. But wow, who would have known? By the time I was 26, 27, I'd already gone through my highest and biggest dreams as a multi-platinum music producer. It was great. However, when you start getting into your next part of life, what happens? You begin making more dreams. You start making more things that you want to happen. They start coming into your space. They start moving onto your radar. What do? Well, you go live them. You gotta live them. Man, we have so many things that we want to do in life, and the more we live, the more things we become interested in. However, on the journey of life, you have to get past some obstacles. Now, I understand so many of my friends have different dreams. So many acquaintances that I come in contact with have so many dreams, and they have great dreams. However, they have to move past themselves. They have to get past their own shortcomings. I was the very person that had to do the same thing. As a young person, I was eating at all the fast food restaurants, doing all the things that I love to do. Eating turkey chili cheeseburgers, chili cheese fries. I was at the Golden Arches and every other fast food restaurant in the game. However, at one time in my life, back then, in the midst of eating with all my buddies, the room started spinning. When that room started spinning, I had to make a decision. I heard a voice that told me to stop eating. That would be the first time I had to go into a water fast. And I didn't even call it a fast back then. However, those 21 days that I stopped eating taught me a lot about life and got me into the books. They got me into the study because life changed so dramatically in a good way. Just from that 21 days abstaining from food. It made me go through hundreds of books, thousands of lectures, studying every doctor and practitioner of the art of water fasting. And it put me in a space that I was able to save my own life because that one dizzy spell was the writing on the wall. It let me know right then, hey, your friends may not see this. Your acquaintances might not realize this. But Victor, if you're going to get to where you're trying to go, if you're going to get to your goal, you're going to have to learn how to stop the behavior that kills you. You've got to learn how to make this into a marathon so that you get to each stage of your life in the best shape possible so that you can enjoy each stage. That longevity sight and that desire to study is why I'm here right now. Over 50, well over 50, and doing everything I did in my teens and more. Dreaming, movie making, producing records, on stages, playing bass guitars that I designed, in studios all night, and still with the energy to own 2 health and wellness companies, lecture and coach people so that they can get their health back and then maintain it so that they can live their dreams. All of those things take energy, but none of those things will be possible if I didn't take heed to the fact that I was killing myself way back then. And if I didn't make an immediate choice, I'll be heading to an early grave. Let's talk about the things that you need to do right now. If you're doing them already, beautiful. You can amplify and make them even greater. Contact me. We can talk about how to maintain and even bring your energy to another level of high productivity. I'm into that too. Right now, we're going to touch on some things to help you stop killing yourself. All right, let's go. So, we want to cheat aging. We want to cheat it. Everything is set around here to get us to step in these different minds. And these minds blow up. Everybody wants a piece of your mind. Those things we're scrolling through, everybody wants a little piece of your mind. They want a piece of what you're thinking. When you're driving down the street, they want you to remember what they said to you on that television or on that other screen, so that you could pull in and taste something and grab a sugary snack, grab a fatty snack. It's beautiful. But before you know it, you're dealing with things that absolutely kill. Seed oils in certain potato chips. You're dealing with harsh, refined oils. They're deadly. You're dealing with sugars, carbs. You're dealing with things that are going directly to your lifespan. You're dealing with alcohol and all types of things. One of the first things we want to talk about to extend that longevity, we want to talk about stress. You have to eliminate the stress in your life. Now understand, everything from water fasting to exercising, these are stresses that help the body get stronger. So stress isn't a total bad thing. However, when stress is out of control and goes unchecked or unbalanced, and being out of control, stress can cause problems. Your cells begin to die. Things in the body deteriorate. The body begins to age, and it goes downhill. We have to counteract stress with good things. One of the main things that I use to counteract stress is meditation. Meditation is when you go into the body, you take time out to breathe and calm the body down, and understand that there is a calm in the middle of the tornado. Understanding this, you pull out of that stressful situation and go somewhere that's safe, calm, and rejuvenating, even when you're in the midst of what you think is your most stressful moment. With meditation comes breathing. Breathing is one of the best things you can do for your body. I personally do a mixture of Wim Hof breathing and Sufi breathing. I combine them with specific chanting mantras that help me personally. I also design chants and mantras for specific clients, because the mantras have to be based on what you want in your life, where you're trying to go. Mantras and affirmations have to fit where you're going. However, these things happen when you're meditating. These things happen when you're breathing. Because as these meditations and breathing and mantras move together, you're calibrating. Why calibrate? Because we're just doing this so that we can extend into the things that we're trying to get done. Are you trying to see your grandkids grow up? Are you trying to get your artwork done and have a beautiful body of art? Are you trying to get your next business off the ground? Are you trying to get your finances in order so that your family can have a great next 100 years? Are you trying to set up legacy wealth? None of these things happen if you're not taking care of that body. I know people at 20, 30 years old, they're not here anymore because they focused solely on that, sometimes to a fault, and checked out early of heart attacks and things of that nature. So we calibrate, meditate, affirm, prepave, meaning we think forward before we go into our day and we see it happening and unfolding in a great way. So the meditation and breathing, big part of counteracting the stress, and at the same time, big part of setting the body up for what else it has to do. The next thing, we want to have flexibility. Flexibility, so you have great range of motion with all of your limbs. Through aging, you want to make sure that you're moving all of your limbs and keeping stretched and limber. One of the main things that are going to happen when you do this is you're going to realize that you need to also maintain water, keeping the body hydrated. Very important. So doing your flexibility, doing your yoga, getting the yoga mat out and going through your stretches, stretching the legs, making sure you got the midsection and your core stretched and really ready to move every day. This usually happens after my meditation and breathing exercises. I go into stretching. I like Qigong. I also like yoga. And then I like going through the stretches that really cater to my body at that time. Make sure you get your stretch on. Get the neck stretched. Make sure you take the time to stretch the body. Flexibility as you age is imperative, and we really should be stretching for long periods of time. I never forget, I was listening to a great speaker that's on YouTube right now, and he's like called the Iron Man. He's been through like 5 Navy SEAL trainings. He's gone through all of these different long marathons on broken bones. He's broken his legs and broken his feet, and he still continues to run. So by the time he got a little older, his body was almost totally stiff. He thought it was all over until he ran into another coach. This coach had them stretching for hours. He said they stretched for hours a day, but it brought his body right back to where he was able to do everything he did years ago. That taught me the value of stretching, because I've never seen any coach ask you to stretch for hours. But this is literally his words. And I will do some studying on him and that coach, and maybe I can bring that to a lecture also, because the benefits that he witnessed once he did that were out of this world. So after flexibility, we deal with resistance training. We want to get the muscles right. You want to make sure that you have resistance training as you get older, because muscles are what you're going to need. You don't want to let the muscles atrophy. You don't want to let the muscles wear out because you're not using them. You have to have a vision of yourself being active all through life. Many cultures see themselves getting to 100 years old and further, able to carry a 25-pound weight in each hand and still walk upstairs with great balance. There's different goals in different cultures. Myself, I preach, get old, but always remain young. Let the age years go by, but keep the body young. So I study a lot of longevity scientists and doctors from places like MIT, USC, Harvard, Dr. David Sinclair, Walter Longo, people that are into longevity, very important to me. Some of my heaviest studies go into longevity. Weight training, so important. Getting the mat out again, push-ups, sit-ups, leg lifts, different floor exercises, barbells, dumbbells. You know me. You know I like my bands, because bands are very portable. Resistance bands are incredible. These things are incredibly important for your well-being. So remember, Let's keep that weight training. In fact, they say weight training is more important than cardio. But I still run my clients through cardio, and I do heavy cardio myself. But they say as you age, weight training is more important. Hey, I'm just going by what the doctors say, right? Right. The next thing, now we've gotten past resistance training, it's very important. Now we're talking about diet. Now, I'm a vegan. I've been a vegan for a lot of years. Vegan worked for me. I didn't see anything happen but good things in my body. But not everybody is the same. Some people eat meat and they say they do better when they're eating meat. My body personally actually operated a lot healthier and a lot cleaner when I stopped eating meat. But I don't knock meat. All I say is try to get meat that's grown in a very holistic and clean way. Farm raised usually, but also study farm raised meat because I've seen the word be out on some of the farm raised fish. Make sure you're studying everywhere you're going to eat. Myself, I go to the vegan convention in Anaheim here in California every year. The Natural Foods Convention, thousands of vendors, probably 10, 15,000 vendors all over the convention center. And I get to talk to every vendor about what's going to be going into my favorite stores that carry healthier products. Because I realize that even though it's vegan, it doesn't have to be healthy. So I talk to the vendors to see who's doing it for the money. I talk to vendors to see who really did it for the health. I met a great woman who put a vegan restaurant in Baldwin Hills over by where I stayed. And I never forget, this early in my vegan game, she said, look, I did this because my husband was sick and he was about to die. I tried everything, but when I cut the meat out of his diet, he started getting better. So I just learned how to make all of these meatless dishes that felt like you're eating meat. And I said, man, her why is the kind of why I want to hear from other people. Because when you're cooking for somebody you love, or you're cooking because you love yourself, and you make those changes, you begin to make products that are good for you, not doing it just for the money. The ones that I see that seem like they're doing it for the money or because it's just trendy to make vegan food, I stay away from most of those brands. But I'm not going to get into brands right now. So, do what you have to do on the diet. Let's get the vegetables involved, the leafy green vegetables. Let's definitely get the nuts involved. Make sure you're doing your berries. The berries are incredible with antioxidants, something that the body needs as it ages. Your strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. These berries have antioxidants. Remember, when you're doing berries, mixing a banana in a berry smoothie can negate the antioxidants many times. So understand, if you're going to do a banana smoothie, do a banana smoothie over here. If you're going to do a berry smoothie, do a berry smoothie over here, and whatever your creamy element's going to be, maybe it's almond milk, maybe it's regular milk if you're a meat and dairy eater, but make sure that you keep banana separated from the berries because, and you can study this for yourself, they're saying in science that the banana actually negates the antioxidants in the berries, and antioxidants are one of the main things that berries bring to you, okay? Next thing, dairy. Now, I cut the dairy out of my life when I became a vegan, of course. Now, when I was a kid in high school, I had a car accident. My face went through the windshield. I fell asleep at the wheel. I woke up and my whole face was in the windshield of the car that I was driving. It was a terrible accident. I could have lost my life. But coming out of that accident, one of my nostrils was actually closed totally. I had the surgery on my face what best they could. I didn't get the further reconstructive surgery that they told me I could schedule for if I wanted to keep getting correction. But I thought that I would have this nose clogged up for the rest of my life. It happened in high school, and I thought it'd probably happen and be there till adulthood if I didn't go get the surgery. Well, I became a vegan. in my late 30s. When I became a vegan, I stopped all dairy and cheese, all meat and dairy stopped. About a year and a half into being vegan, my head just cleared up. All of a sudden I could breathe. Now that was really interesting for me. Before you know it, and I've never had a problem with mucus since. But it took a good year and a half of no meat and no dairy for that sinus passage to open up. And hey, this is important for anybody who's having problems with things that are stopped up or mucus issues. Meat and dairy, very big, and you may have to let them go for a year or two and see if your ailment lets up, because that mucus will leave and you'll find yourself feeling like a kid, bringing that youth back. That youth, when you start breathing right, it's a whole nother ball game, okay? Another thing, alcohol. They promote alcohol all over the place. Alcohol is one of the things everybody gets into when they're young, because as they go get candy and different things, as we grow up from kids, we're always passing the alcohol section. And everybody's saying, don't touch that. But what does that make you want to do? You can't have that. You're not 18 yet. Everybody gets 18. What do they want to go do? They want to drink. But here we are lately in the 2020 to 2025, and even a little beyond, maybe between 2016, 2017, you started really hearing about how alcohol ages the body. They didn't used to talk about alcohol like that. But now doctors are coming out and talk about how alcohol ages you. It ages the body dramatically. So if you're going to do alcohol in moderation, no problem. Myself, I'm 35 years sober, and I help people stay off of things like alcohol. But when you deal with alcohol, know that it does age the body. And if you're trying to get into life and get through life and get into your older age with a youthful body, make sure you realize alcohol is an ager and it can affect you. We won't even get into what it does to the brain and the organs. It's not a joke. If you can, shake the alcohol, set it to the side. Maintain your youth and find something else to have fun. Okay? All right. Next, big one, smoking. You already know. Smoking restricts the capillaries. It makes the veins tight. Now the heart has to work more. Any kind of smoke going into the body hurts the body. I don't care what you're trying to go for. Now they use some types of marijuana to help certain blood flows because of the effect that it brings about. But if you can at all avoid smoke, I think that it's probably best that you just eliminate all smoking. It takes a lot of years off of the lifespan, and it also ages the body. Now certain people can get old and they smoke. No doubt, I'm not against that. In fact, in Outliers Law 10,000, they say one of the not races of people, I can't say races, but one of the cultures that we have, one of our longest living cultures, they smoke, eat meat, do all kind of things, and they live to be 100 plus. But one thing that they do that nobody else does, they keep their doors unlocked, they talk, they celebrate, they hug each other, they laugh, all times of the day. It's a quaint village, and you have to study the book Outliers, the Law of 10,000, to hear their story. And again, the word is out. It has to be studied. So I will, from just those studies in Outliers, Law of 10,000, I'll say, love your neighbor, love yourself, laugh a lot, look into people's eyes and enjoy your neighbors, and stay out of stress. Because really what that Law of 10,000 was teaching me in that story is they're not stressed. And in fact, they're caught up in bliss, which is another youthful generator. Bliss, happiness, laughter. It's the elixir of life. So we're going to end it with one of the biggest culprits of all. One of the biggest culprits is sugar. Now, sugar is in so many different things. In the book Sugar Blues, another book that I've had the the honor of reading. Sugar Blues says the introduction of refined white sugar in America was violently opposed by doctors. They didn't want it to come into the Americas. But when it got lobbied and made it into the Americas, the population in insane asylums rose 50% in 1 year. So can we say statistically that sugar is not just bad for the body? It's not just one of the things responsible for so many of our diseases from diabetes to cancers. Sugar also is a psychological issue. It can deteriorate the way that we think, and it can put us in positions of neurosis where we have problems with the way that we think or how we're thinking. So sugar is something that needs to be eliminated. When you eliminate sugar from the diet, so many things upregulate and become normalized, because sugar creates problems in the body. When sugar creates insulin resistance, these things can create a lot of different problems in your body if you can at all eliminate sugar. Find a sugar substitute that's healthy, do your studying, and let's eliminate that sugar, okay? Now, we've talked about a few things. We've got some good solid staples that we can start implementing in our day-to-day so that we have the best youthful life that we can. There are many other things to talk about, because we could talk about other things such as water fasting, which is what I'm focused on. Now, water fasting, just to tag everything, water fasting is a youth fountain. It's the fountain of youth. In laboratory studies with mice, the mice that ate regular were put next to mice that ate regular and then missed 1 day of eating, and then they ate regular, and then they were not able to eat the next day. The mice that were starved every other day lived 30 to 80% longer than the mice that ate every day. And they lived longer with younger bodies. So they got the age of the mice that ate every day with bodies that look half their age. And then they extended past the mice that ate regular's death and continued with younger bodies, 30 to 80% longer than the mice that ate regular. Fasting is absolutely the fountain of youth. One of the biggest things fasting does is it puts you in a state of what's called autophagy. Autophagy means self-eating. At that point, the body is eating itself. It's not just eating and devouring the meat, no. It's cleaning out the cells. Autophagy eats everything. Even your tattoos will get lighter. Whatever's not supposed to be in your body gets eaten, including cancer, tumors, bad cells, deformed cells, out of there. They're made into proteins and the body uses them or eliminates them. Also, when the body's in a fasted state at 24 hours, after 30 years old for men and women, human growth hormone, what makes you have firm muscles and a firm body, not having all that flab under your arms, that's human growth hormone that gives you that young, energetic body, HGH. After 30 years old, human growth hormone almost screeches to a halt. But after 24 hours of water fasting, human growth hormone jumps up 2,000% in men, 1,500% in women, up to 3,000% in some cases in men. HGH is one of the main things that keeps you tight, gets that body youthful. That's how you can see many people past 70 who have everything from abs to biceps, full thighs and calves. They're ripped. They have that diet down, that water fasting down. Also, water fasting upregulates human growth hormone. It also upregulates BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So stroke victims and people that have had brain issues, brain fog, water fasting regenerates the brain cells because of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it brings the brain back to that youthful state. Now the brain is sharp, It's able to think clearly. A lot of times if it had damage, it's able to reconnect those synapses and those neural pathways and bring things back. At the same time, in a fasted state, the body makes, and it doesn't multiply, but it enhances and grows more dopamine receptors. So now the body has a broader capacity to be happy, and then it produces more dopamine for those. So now you're dealing with more happiness, more upbeat bliss. And remember, bliss is part of the youthful elixir. So now we're talking about just the synergy of good things brought on by water fasting. In fact, I think that water fasting is probably the best one thing that anybody could do that affects so many other things in the body, no matter what your diet is. So we ended with what I'm really a specialist in, because water fasting is just my ticket. I love fasting. It's kept me and it continues to keep me. Whether you're 50 and over or a lot younger, following these suggestions will help you to stop killing yourself. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.